So here's an interesting exercise, and I'm going to go to sleep soon, I think. Um, but here's an interesting exercise or a little game you can play with yourself. When you think about someone, anyone in your life, friend, colleague, acquaintance, associate, family member, whatever, when you think about that person, when you think about what it is about that person that you value the most, or that you, what characteristics of that person do you associate with the most or think of first? Pick three people and think about the things that are most endearing about that person. Now, the next time that you are in a conversation with somebody and it occurs to you to bring up another person, um, how is it that you introduce that person into the conversation? For example, let's say I'm with a client and they say I've got sore muscles and man, I could really use a good massage. And it occurs to me, oh, hey, I've got a great massage therapist. Her name is blah blah blah. She's great. She's just got this great energy about her. She's got a wonderful technique. You lose all track of time when you go see her. It's just a wonderful experience. She's gentle. She's kind. She's one of those just great people that you can't not instantly walk away feeling, heartwarming feelings about whatever. Well, there was a context there. There was a common denominator. This person mentioned massage. Bam, this person came into my mind. I might be able to put two people together that could mutually benefit from each other, and so forth. That probably happens several times a day, right? Um, think about how you introduce those people to the other person. And in my observation, when someone says, oh, I've got a friend, or I've got a colleague, or my brother, or this, and then fill in the blanks. Um, what are the first adjectives you use to describe that person to this other person? And in my observation, the very first things that are used to describe this new person I'm bringing into the conversation, and not me, I'm there too, but I've been working on this for a couple of years now. But when I hear somebody introduce into a conversation the mention of another person, or even if I'm with in a group of people in a social setting or professional setting, and I'm introduced to somebody, or somebody introduces me to somebody else, there's a couple trends I've noticed that are troubling. Because the first things, oh, Dave, this is Pete. I've been meaning to get you guys together. Pete is blankety blankety blank. Or, and that's in person. Or if I'm in a conversation and someone says, oh, you know what? You got to meet my friend Joe, because Joe is blankety blankety blank. Or that reminds me of a story. Yeah, I've got these two friends, and they are blankety blankety blank, and so on and so forth. Those blankety blanks tend to fall into a couple categories as follows. It seems that the first adjectives used to describe a new person, either in conversation or in an in-person physical introduction, are based on the person's race or the person's wealth or the person's job, or the person's sexual orientation, um, or the person's appearance. And then it, it runs from there: personality, energy, so on and so forth. So I hear several times a day when people want to tell me a story or share an experience and it involves another person in their life, they say, "Oh yeah, I've got this friend Dave. You know, he's this tall, great-looking black guy. You know, gay guy, married, very successful. You know, he's a lawyer, and it goes on from there." Now, those qualifiers of Dave are not qualifiers at all. Those are not necessarily things that I care about, um, depending on the context, of course. Asked about, judge people by, or whatever, but I hear them over and over again. So the next time someone's name comes into your head and you want to mention that person or introduce that person to somebody else, and you find yourself describing, "Oh yeah, yeah, my friend Dave, he's a black guy." Okay, time out. What made you decide to use that as the first adjective in your list of traits to describe your good friend Dave? Why was black in the top 10 or 20 or 100 or any number? Was that descriptor in the context of the conversation? In some cases, it could be. Yeah, I'm meeting your friend Dave later for a drink. How do I know? How do I recognize him? Oh, he's a really, really tall black guy. Oh, okay, that I get. But without that context, I don't understand why that descriptor comes to mind. Yeah, oh, my friend Pete, you should meet him. He's this lovely gay guy, you know, and he's okay. Time out. Okay, why was that on your mind? I don't believe the context had anything to do with his orientation. You weren't setting us up on a date. Why would that even come to mind at all? Yeah, I'm going to go stay with my friends, you know, Bob and Jessica this weekend. Uh, yeah, you know, they're loaded, very successful, big house, whatever. And time out. I didn't ask if they were loaded or successful, which is a non-word. Why did that come into your mind to mention that? And you get my drift. I hear that over and over again. And I have to ask myself the question when I hear this, and I usually don't out loud, but I'm thinking to myself, why did you think to qualify them as being black, white, yellow, orange, green, chartreuse, gay, straight, bi, he, she, whatever, successful, non-successful, whatever that means, rich, loaded, poor, blah, 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 doctor, lawyer, attorney, swim teacher, baby seal, feeder, whatever. Why do any of those things come to mind? Now, they came to mind for a reason. I just want to understand what they are. Those aren't the things that occur to me when I'm describing one person to another. If the name pops up, then it popped up in some context of the conversation, meaning there's some commonality that makes me want to associate, oh, what that person just said brought this person into my mind, what's that commonality? And maybe that's the connection I ought to make first. Oh, you're looking for chiropractors. Oh, well, this guy's a chiropractor. That's a good place to start. You didn't say I'm looking for tall, black, gay, handsome, wealthy, rich, successful, born in New Jersey chiropractors. Those weren't common elements. And what does that mean when you come up with those things first? And that's important because I hear this from people that I perceive to be wonderful, helping, healing, non-judgmental, non-biased, yet those descriptors come up over and over again, and I want to know why. Because if the first thing that comes to someone's mind about this friend of theirs that means so much, or this associate, is their gayness, straightness, blackness, whiteness, richness, poorness, tallness, shortness, that again points to a fundamental root issue that I think has not been addressed, but that is worth addressing. And I don't ask it often because the times I've kind of dabbled in it, I get defensive as, oh well, I'm just saying, I'm just saying he's gay, he's a very good looking guy. Great. But that doesn't answer my question. When I am in social settings, which I rarely am, for reasons that are probably apparent as I'm falling asleep by the microphone, and I'm introduced as, oh hey, this is my friend Pete. He's a trainer. He's got this great method, whatever. So I'm meeting a new person for the first time, and I'm introduced as this great trainer, which has nothing to do with me at all. Now, if I wished to be identified as a great trainer, which I don't wish that, but if I did, and I made that known, that might be one thing. But if that's the first thing someone says, then we've got a connection problem. I have a cousin who's a famous football player, and on more than one occasion I've introduced as, oh hey, this is Pete. He's XYZ's cousin, and oh my God, that becomes that's my value in to this person from the get-go, is that I'm somebody else's cousin. And so the conversation then begins with me valuing myself, answering questions about my cousin, not about me. So imagine how a Chelsea Clinton or a, son of a celebrity or something might feel when every time they get introduced, it's nothing to do with them as a person, their intrinsic value, their personality, their gifts, their interests, nothing. It's their value is being pitched by somebody that supposedly cares for them. The first thing that this person who cares about me thinks to mention to somebody else is this other characteristic which has nothing to do with what I'm all about. And that could be damaging beyond, well, just think about it. I'm going to bed now. I'm tired.